Hi everyone. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Hope you all are having a very wonderful, fantastic, amazing, blessed, fun-filled, exciting day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you're watching us from across the globe. It's Frank Steven. It is Frank Steven, and this is the Nigerian perspective, and we are live. We're live, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a lot to talk about, a whole lot to talk about. Uh, by God's grace, this is going to be a very interesting live stream, and we'll learn a lot. We'll talk about a whole lot of things. A lot of people are speaking Hebrew in the comment, in the live chat, and I don't even know what they are saying. Don't worry, God will help me to interpret these tongues. Amen. Anyways, whatever your language, whatever it is you are typing with, wherever you are, please smash that like button, okay? Smash and destroy the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to this channel and share this link to everyone. To everyone. Everyone needs to know. The whole world needs to watch me right now. What I'm saying is very important. This is supposed to be on prime time television. But sadly, we can't get prime time television, so we'll settle for YouTube. So right now, everyone, everywhere, please smash that like button. Smash the like button. Destroy it. Demolish it. Let the like button be blown into smithereens. Demolish it. And if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel and share the link. Share the link, guys, and let people know that we are live. Let them know that we are live. Okay, finally, my Hebrew brother has decided to speak English. Bob Marley, Israel. All right. I don't know why you're saying that, but I'm happy to have you. I'm happy to see you, John. I'm happy to see regular shift. I guess that's ROS. Happy to see you. Welcome, everyone. We are going to talk about. We're going to continue talking about Nigeria. There's some things that I said yesterday that I think I need to continue to expand on. And also, there is breaking news from Nigeria. Another wonderful act of Islamic love and kindness has occurred. And in Kwara State, this is probably the second time in Kwara State this year, I think, or maybe in the last couple of years, that there has been an attack by Fulani jihadists. And we are going to talk about it. Okay, that's what we are going to be talking about today. We are also going to be like the title said, the atrocity that just happened, and then more. And the more we are going to be talking about is we are going to be looking at the news that was the news that came out recently with regards to Charlie's letter to Netanyahu. It is finally out. It is finally out, and we are going to be looking at that. And we are going to be looking at that in contrast with the claim that some very reliable sources have made about how Bibi was lying by omission and how he wasn't telling the full story and how he was making it look like Charlie was essentially a saint of Israel and how he died for Israel and how he was misrepresenting Charlie and misrepresenting the letter and how they were demanding, many people were demanding for that letter to be released in full, 100%. But this is the world we live in. Someone dies and you are saying, oh, I remember the last conversation I had with this person. And people are like, oh, I want to see the full conversation you have with this person. That's where we are right now. So we're going to be talking about that. And we're also going to be talking about this special mention in regard to this news. We'll go to Megyn Kelly. And we are going to be talking about Megyn Kelly and how I believe she's just digging a very big hole for herself. One that I don't just know what she's doing. I don't know what she's up to. Not a huge fan anyways, but well, it's going to be interesting to see just how her career trajectory will go with this line of action that she has chosen to embark on. Also, lastly, lastly, we are going to be looking at the Trump-Gaza deal. This is also part of the breaking news that broke yesterday. We are going to be looking at that and people's reaction to that. And so many funny things that happened while the announcement was being made. It has to do with the Abraham Accord and how to pronounce it. I think that is something that I find very interesting. All right. John is very optimistic, just like I am. And he's saying this sounds like an exciting live stream. I'm excited. Yeah. And so am I. I'm excited. Every time I start a live stream, I'm usually just nervous. Like, what do I say? How do I say? I hope this goes well. But I am very hopeful with this one. I'm hopeful that, we We are going to talk about a lot of interesting stuff, and we are going to have fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to be entertained, and we are going to be informed. And yeah. So once again, guys, please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We are just 24 now watching me, and I want us to get to 100 today. We are going to get to 100 today, inshallah. Allah willing. Mashallah, we are going to get there. Okay? No, inshallah, no mashallah. Okay. Inshallah, we are going to get there. So, ladies and gentlemen, commit jihad on the like button. Share the link. Share the link. Let people know that we are here and we are live and we are ready to rumble. Let them know that we are here, okay? And yeah. And also, please remember to support the channel. Many ways you can support it is by sending me money, of course, through super chats. You can do that. Like, send me those super chats. I really need them. Okay? And it's encouraging. Okay, but before the super chat, just comment, just say something in the live chat. Okay, let me know that there are people actually there. It's one of the things that I enjoy, even though they're not super chats, but I love people just saying something in the live chat. It's really encouraging. When I see it, I'm like, okay, finally, people are talking, people are having a conversation. This is nice, this is cool. So yeah, I want people to just say something in the live chat. Second is of course the reaction, is that what it is called now? The reaction button on the live chat. You can keep smashing that, like the love button, or 100, or this, whatever it is, just smash that as well. And one other thing is, okay, yeah, the super chats, super stickers. And you can go to buymeacoffee.com/NIG perspective to show me your enormous support, to show that you support what I'm doing, and you're happy to see my face every time, and you want my channel to go far. You want us to conquer the universe, because that's the plan. Okay, that's the plan. That's the mandate that we have been given by Allah. Allah wants us to go and spread his message all across the world. And I want to make Muhammad famous. I want to make Allah famous for everything he needs to be famous for. And more. Okay, so if you support me and support my goal of making Allah very famous, please send me money, send me jizya. Anyways, so yeah, that's what we are. I mean, I've given you a rundown of the things we're going to be talking about, so let's get into it. All right, so first things first, here's the news story that we are going to be talking about today, or we are going to begin with today. Coming straight from Nigeria. This is the news. Police confirmed 12 deaths of 12 vigilantes in Kwara bandits attack. This is as recent. This happened, like you can see, 28th of September 2025, and today is 30th. So this is like 2 days ago. The Kwara State Police Command has confirmed that no fewer than 12 persons, including the Baale of Agbayo, we are killed during Sunday morning's bandits attack at Okeode community in Ifelodun local government area of the state. The commander said the incident occurred around 7 a.m. when armed men stormed this area of Okeode, shooting sporadically and targeting members of the local vigilante. A statement by the public police relations officer, this person said operatives of the command and personnel of the National Forest Security Service swiftly responded to distress calls, but 12 vigilante members were already found dead. The statement added that 4 injured victims were immediately taken to the hospital for treatment, while the bodies of the deceased were evacuated. At about 7 a.m. today, armed men, I guess this is the spokesperson for whoever speaking. So he said at about 7 a.m. today, armed men invaded this area in this local government of Kwara State, shooting sporadically. A combined team of police operatives and members of the National Forest Security Service responded swiftly to the scene, where they discovered 12 lifeless bodies of vigilante members, including the Baale of Agbayo. The statement partly read. This person noted that the police, in collaboration with the military and NFSS, that's the National Forest Security Service, had intensified manhunt operations to track down the perpetrators, assuring residents that justice will be served. The Commissioner of Police, Adekimi Ojo, while commiserating with family of the victims, described the killing as heinous and pledged that the command's unwavering commitment to the safety of lives and property across the state. Sunday's attack adds to the growing wave of violent raids in parts of Kwara. Okay, so this is not the first time. It adds to the growing wave of violent raids in parts of Kwara. particularly in the north and south, where communities, vigilantes, and business owners have increasingly become targets of armed bandits. Of course, they're always armed bandits. Punch Online earlier reported that no fewer than 15 vigilantes and hunters were killed on Sunday morning when armed bandits invaded this community in this local government area of Kwara State. An unspecified number of residents were also reportedly kidnapped during the attack, which left the community in mourning. A video of the incident obtained by Punch Online showed the bodies of slain vigilantes lying on the ground. A member of the local vigilante group in the town, identified simply as this person, told our correspondent that the government was being economical with the truth by claiming that attackers were repelled. Of course, that is what you expect whenever things like this happen in Nigeria, is that the security operative and the officials, security officials will not be honest with the truth. They are going to downsize the number of victims. If it was 25, they will say 12. If it was 50, they will say 20. They're always going to try to give you minimal, that kind of, they're going to do that kind of thing. They are notorious for doing that kind of thing. Whenever it comes to this kind of report, they downplay it a lot. They do it a lot. It's known at this point. It goes without saying at this point that that's what they do, right? And just to demonstrate exactly what is going on beyond just what you see on the news. Yeah, you know, in this age of the internet where everybody documents everything, here is what is actually going on. And this is the clips that are coming out from Kwara after the recent attack. Some of you may not understand. She's speaking Yoruba. She's saying that they have killed her husband. So this is a woman whose husband was killed in the attack. As you can see, she's crying. She's really mourning the death of her husband. And she's saying, they have killed my husband. They have killed my husband. She keeps saying Yoruba. And she's mourning. And this is the I don't want to continue before we see dead bodies and then this gets flagged, but you get the idea. Here's another clip of what is going on. This is showing that people are fleeing local government right now. Like, these are people. Oh, we have this under control. This is what they mean by we have this under control. You can see people fleeing. People are basically leaving this community, and they're leaving this community running away. Perfectly under control. Here is another clip of people running. Just this from another area. This from the name there. This is the local government area. Okeode. Ní àárọ̀ àná yìí ojú ọ̀nà ni ó dá yìí àwọn ọ̀dọ́ ti ya sí ojú ọ̀nà ìlú náà wọn ò jẹ́ kí ọkọ̀ kankan tí ó kọjá. Don't know what is going on. People are just it's chaos everywhere after this kind of incident. That's what usually happens in this kind of areas. You see chaos, you see people leaving massively. People are trying to run for their dear lives because they know that they cannot trust their security agencies. They know they cannot trust any of these people and what they are saying. They know these people cannot. What the narrator is explaining is that these are buses filled with people that are running. These people are trying to evacuate, the area. They are trying to leave. They're trying to run for their dear lives. That's what is happening here. Tán sá àsálà fún ẹ̀mí wọn látàrí ìkọlù àwọn agbébọn. So that's another example of just what is happening on the ground. Here you have the same thing. You have the same. Happen, you have all these government agencies and security agencies. They come and they give beautiful speeches. That's one thing that they are known for. It's like the job description. It's like the someone is saying I'm muted. Am I muted? Someone is saying I'm muted. Am I muted, please? Someone let me know. Am I muted? Can you all hear me? I can hear myself clearly, but someone is saying I'm muted. Let me know in the comments if I'm muted before I continue. Can you all hear me? Oh, okay. So I cannot, when the video is playing, you can't hear me. Okay, I get it. All right. So what I was trying to explain when the video was playing was that this is kind of what happens in these areas. You know, people are trying to leave, people are trying to run, and they can't trust the security agencies because they tell a lot of, oh yeah, we have this under control, but they clearly don't have it under control. When we were watching those videos, we saw a woman whose husband was just, the first video we watched was a woman, that's this one. Let me put it on the screen. I won't play it so you guys can hear me. This is a woman who lost her husband to this recent attack, and she's crying and shouting and wailing that they've killed her husband, and she kept wailing that she's saying it in Yoruba, so you know you will not be able to understand it, but I'm here to interpret it. Now, I don't know Yoruba very well, even though I grew up in Lagos. To my own shame, I don't know Yoruba very well, but I can hear a little. And what she's saying is, they've killed my husband. And then she says other things, but essentially she's mourning and she's wailing the death of her husband. So that's the first clip. The second one we saw was people trying to leave. You can see huge lorries and cars and pickups like this with people trying to leave, trying to evacuate the premises, the community, leaving their homes, leaving their, to make you understand, this is a village. This is not like town or city where people just moved into 2 weeks ago, or two years ago, or even highest 5 years ago. No, this is areas where people this is people's ancestral land. Their grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather lived here. And the houses there are houses that was passed on from one generation to another, land that was passed on from one generation to another. And because of attacks like this, these people have to evacuate. They have to run from their home, from their native land. They have to run. They have to run from their native land. This is what is happening in Kwara State. And it happens in so many other places in Nigeria. Then we call them internally displaced person, IDPs, right? And they get to, sometimes the government will set up IDP camps for them, or they kind of create one for themselves, or they go to relatives living in other towns and other communities, or even living in cities, because in places like Kwara and other places that are like hot zones for terrorist attack in Nigeria, the cities are usually safe, right? The cities are usually safe. It is the remote villages where you have like little or no presence of security or even the government that you see these attacks happening over and over again. So those people have to move to cities or have to move to another community. And that's what is happening here. And it's the same thing with this video of people leaving as well. They're just leaving. Everybody's trying to get out of that place. So when we read from from this news article, and the government officials are saying we have this under control and these attackers we are repelled, you can see that the community is not buying it because they know it is BS. It's just BS. These people are not saying the truth, and they know it. Okay, that's kind of the situation of things in this part of the world, and it's quite unfortunate. It is really, 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 really unfortunate. And I hope Abdullah is in the comment today, because this is an example of Muslim on Muslim attack, because Kwara is a majority Muslim state. Okay, although it's in the south, it's a majority Muslim state. And the reason why Fulanis will have impunity to attack a place like Kwara if you understand how Islam works in Nigeria, Muslims in the north and Muslims in the west are kind of not the same. Okay. And here's the funny thing: the Muslims in the north see the Muslims in the west. Like when I say the west, I'm talking about. Let me show you a map of Nigeria to help in explaining this. Let me show you a map of Nigeria. This would, I hope it to help us in understanding what I am saying. Okay. So this is like give me a second. Okay, so this is a map of Nigeria, right? All right. So when we talk about places that like the core north, the core northern states, we're talking about Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Kano, Kaduna, Bauchi, Yobe, Borno. This is like Boko Haram's headquarters, Gombe. Okay, these are like the places that you call the core north. Okay, Gombe. So now when you have like places that they call the north central or like the middle belt, you're talking about Niger, Kwara, FCT, Nasrawa, Plateau, Kogi, Benue, and Taraba, and even some Adamawa, because you know Adamawa is have a very vibrant Christian community in places like Adamawa. So you can see this is like, and in the western part of the country you have Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, Ondo, Ogun State, Lagos State, and then when you come to the south you have Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, and then in the southeast, this is the weird way the flag is. The map is in the southeast. You have Enugu, Anambra, Imo, Abia, and Ebonyi State. Okay, so this region from here, where it's colored ash and purple, pink rather, ash, pink, and green. These places are referred to in general as the South, and places like this where you see the yellow and whatever this color is, this is the North, and this is the North Central, and this is here it's called the Northeast, this is called the Northwest, this is called the North Central, this is called the Southwest. This place that is ash is the Southwest. I hope my mouse is visible. I don't think is it visible? I think it is. Yeah, my mouse is visible. Okay, here it's called the Southwest. This what is it called? This place in pink is called the South, and this is called the Southeast. Okay, so now in this area that is colored ash, you have Muslims in this area. You have Muslims in Oyo State, you have Muslims in Osun State, you have Muslims in Ekiti State, you have Muslims in Ondo State, you have Muslims in Ogun State, and you have Muslims in Lagos State. And I'm not just saying Muslims from the north, I mean Muslims that are native to those areas. And you have Muslims in this part, like in the north. You see how big the north is. So you have Muslims in the northern part of the state, of the country, rather. But the Muslims in the northern part and the Muslims in the west are not the same. In fact, it's so weird how not the same they are, because they don't, like, when they have like certain Muslim celebrations, they don't celebrate it on the same day. That's how different they are. They don't celebrate it on the same day. Like the North to celebrate it, I think the North celebrates it before the West. So it's kind of like how they kind of really have that we are not we are not the same vibe going on, right? Anyway, I'm saying this to explain to you just the differences. And people in the north kind of view people in the west, the Muslims in the west, as apostates. They see them as fake Muslims. And they're not afraid. Like, it is a known fact in Nigeria that people in the north see people in the west as fake Muslims. They see them as hypocrites because they are not as hardcore as they are. Like, Muslims in the west are not as hardcore as Muslims in the north. Is a known fact in Nigeria. So that will give the Fulanis impunity to go ahead and attack people in the west, Muslims in the west, because they don't see them as the same. They see them as hypocrites. They see them as fake Muslims, essentially. So yeah, and Kwara State is just around there. Honestly, even though in this map, it make it look like Kwara and Niger are the same because they have the same coloring, but Kwara is much more part of the west than it is part of the north central. Kwara is very much a Yoruba state. Kwara is very much a Yoruba state. It is a Yoruba state. In fact, parts of Kogi is kind of Yoruba too, even though they have like also distinct ethnic identities. Many, not just one. Many ethnic identities are in Kogi state, you know. But essentially, these places, especially Kwara, you can see those people we listen to, we are speaking Yoruba. They are not speaking a new language. They're speaking Yoruba because they are all Yorubas, right? And the Yoruba Muslims, as the Muslims from the north, the Hausa Muslims, the Fulani Muslims, see the Yoruba Muslims as like hypocrites and people who engage in so many dunya. They are not, their dawah is not strong. Their devotion to Allah is not strong. It's not as strong as it should be, you know. And they permit things that Allah has forbidden, you know. You will see it is in Yoruba land. You will see Muslims that drink, Muslims that they claim to be Muslims, but they don't even go to the mosque often. You know, they're just Muslims for, you know, it's their identity and stuff. So there is that. Anyways, I'm saying that to say this is kind of an explanation for why the Fulanis will see them as halal targets, if you understand. Like, oh, these people are fair game because are they really true Muslims? You know. So yeah, and that is what is happening in Kwara State. And yeah, most of the victims of this attack will end up being Muslims. And there's this clip I saw that it's kind of, but it's the reality. This, what we're about to say, are bandits. These are bandits, like they call them, but essentially these are just Fulani headsmen. These are criminals. These are terrorists. These are Islamic terrorists. And just, I want you to see the impunity with which they operate. They are the ones filming this clip that I'm about to show you. And you can see the impunity with which they operate. Here they are on bikes, on motorbikes, with guns. Yep, those are bandits on motorbikes, in multiple, like they just, it's as if they have like a parade on the streets, just moving. And this is how they usually attack. This is how they usually attack. The stories I've heard from people who have lived to survive the attack to tell you, when they come in bikes and in large numbers. They come with guns, they come with machete, and they just attack. And they one of the things they rely on often is this element of surprise. Like your community is not expecting them, and they just boom, they're in your community in these large numbers. Imagine this large number of people attacking a remote community in Nigeria. I don't know if you can imagine just those places that we saw in those previous videos. Imagine people like this just in large numbers with no security presence, like security operative, official government security bodies being present to prevent them or stop them or do anything. Sometimes even when they are like I think there's a clip of it here. Let me check. I think there's a clip of it here. Let it load. Give it a moment. Sorry. Give it a moment. There's a clip of it, and this clip I'm going to show you is somebody who is narrating what happened. Now the person is speaking Yoruba, so if I play it, you're going to hear the person speaking Yoruba.
Security no care on jẹun fún a month without anything. I want to try to interview now.
So let me not play it. Let me not play because you guys don't understand. But essentially, this is what he's saying. He's saying, we told the soldiers to fight against the bandits that attacked us in Ode. Sorry, Yorubas, if I'm butchering this name. Bear with me. But they said they haven't been given orders to engage. The soldiers were later withdrawn, and even the guns of local hunters were taken away. This is the reality of what is happening on the ground. Here is another one. Here's another one from, this is like a community leader appealing to the government and appealing to the public. Of course, he's speaking Yoruba, so you may not understand what he's saying. But the summary of what he's saying is that the kidnappers, now this is something that was not mentioned in the report, but the kidnappers, I mean, the bandits kidnapped some people. Some people were kidnapped, okay? And okay, this is a different. I think this is a different area. Not sure. Let me get my reporting straight. Anyway, this. Let me be sure. Give me a second. Let me be very sure, so I don't report the wrong thing and somebody will say, "Aha! You see, this is why he should not be trusted. He's giving wrong reports." Give me a second. Okay, this is a different area. This is a different area. I don't know how recent this attack is, but in this attack, people were kidnapped, and it's in Kwara State, the same Kwara State, and they were demanding ransom of 20 million naira. What is 20 million naira in dollars? So you can understand how much they're asking. That's about 13,000 US dollars. That's what they're asking for. They're asking for approximately 13,000 US dollars. That is what they are asking for after raiding a particular village and kidnapping people. And many of the youths have already been kidnapped, like the report this person is saying here. We have been calling the attention of the government for the past 2 months, yet nothing has been done. So this is not part of the recent attack, but this is like an attack that happened in this Kwara State. We demand that the state and federal government answer out and take immediate action to end this nightmare. So imagine that you live in a state where this kind of thing is happening, right? And then the security operatives tell you, "Oh, don't worry, we have everything under control. We have everything under control." You're not going to believe them. You're definitely not going to believe them. You have to leave. You know you have to leave. So you are going to get all your things and leave. That is the reality of what is happening in Kwara State. Something else that I want to share with us is this news story. One of the, what's happening in Kwara State is a kind of like a cautionary tale in a way, because, well, let me just share the news article so you know why I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay, so this is from August 2nd, 2022, and this is a prominent politician and public figure in Nigeria, and you can see what this article is saying: how we brought in Fulani militias from Mali, Sierra Leone, Senegal, and others to win 2015 election. Revelation have started to be made on how Nigeria got itself into the current high level of insecurity in the country. Abubakar Kawu Baraje, a former chieftain of the ruling APC, that's All Progressive Congress, rather. This is a political party in Nigeria, actually the ruling political party in Nigeria. So on Monday, traced the origin of the current insecurity in the country to the influx of Fulanis from neighboring countries like Sierra Leone, Mali, Senegal, Niger, and Chad, brought into the country for election purposes in 2015. He said this in Ilorin. Now, Ilorin is the capital of Kwara State. He said this in Ilorin as part of activities to mark his 70th birthday anniversary. He also backed self-help initiative of the Southwest governors, stating that responses of Sunday Igaho to the herdsmen menace were necessary because the federal government failed in its principal responsibility to secure life and property. On the recent move by some ruling party governors to woo former President Goodluck Jonathan, Baraje said that the ruling party was only wasting its time. Now, this was said during the time of Jonathan, 2015, I believe. Yeah, during the time of Jonathan. Anyways, so to cut the long story short, what this article is talking about and what it is reporting on is how sometimes, just like how the Democrats in the US have been accused of doing now, I don't know how true that accusation is, but also in Nigeria, there is this importation of voters that happen. Now, Nigeria has a very porous border. It's almost like we don't even have a border at all, because people from Niger, people from Chad, people from all this from the Sahel region often just freely come into Nigeria and freely move however they want and operate however they want. And yeah, that is what happens in the border. Is known at this point how porous our northern border is, right? So many times, and I think one of the reasons why this is allowed is, for election purposes. You bring these people in and you get them to vote, a particular political party, and you use them for election purposes. And at that point of the election, that is, you could see the usefulness of having these people here. But after the election, now you have a problem in your hands. Now you have to deal with these people. And it's quite unfortunate, especially in the Southwest, especially in the Yoruba part of Nigeria. You know, these people have had headmen issues. Like they've had issues with headsmen, as they are called. They've had issues with these people. And the response is usually to find some kind of agreement. That has always been the case. You see, Yoruba chieftains are meeting with the headers, and they are having an agreement, a settlement, whatever, of how these headers are going to now finally peacefully operate in land that belong to Westerners. That's like Yorubas. Now, when I say Westerners, I mean Yorubas, not Westerners as in the United States. Anyways, that is usually how they try to broker peace with headers. Instead of pushing them out of their land and fighting them back, they try to negotiate with people who have come to terrorize them and take their land by force. And obviously, this is not working. This is clearly not working, but that seems to be the approach that, you know, the Yorubas are taking. So sometimes it really is. And currently, you know, a lot of things when it has to do with insecurity in the Southwest. At one point, you kind of feel for them. At the other point, you know, when you consider it, you in general, like holistically, what is going on there, the loss of lives and properties and everything, and people having to getting chased from their own, you know, from their ancestral home. It's kind of sad to see, right? It is very sad to see. It is very, you know, on a human level, when you look at it, it is very sad to see. It is unfortunate. It is really as in pitiful, right? It is something that as a human being, you feel this should not happen to anyone. No one deserves this. But then when you look at the situation closely and you understand what Westerners and when I mean Westerners, I mean Yorubas. In fact, let me stop saying Westerners and just say Yorubas. And yes, I know it doesn't apply to all Yorubas, but Yorubas as a group, as a political bloc in Nigeria, there's something that they are known for. Okay? Now, this does not apply to every single Yoruba person in Nigeria, but for the most part, it applies to most Yorubas, especially Yoruba leaders, political voices, heads of communities, chieftains, and what have you. When it has to do with Yoruba as a political bloc, their way of politics, their style of politics is what gives birth to things like this. They have this approach of appeasing terrorists, appeasing people that have come to destroy their land, to steal it and to take it away from them. And they have had this approach for a very long time in this country, as in they have this history of always appeasing the North, trying to curry favor with the North, you know, which is, you know, we have Tinubu, the current president of Nigeria, when he was campaigning, during the time he was campaigning, told the North to vote for him, like people in the North to vote for him, because he was the one that made Buhari president. Now, Buhari was one of the most horrible presidents Nigeria have ever seen. Very terrible. It was under Buhari, we had 8 years of suffering, severe suffering in Nigeria. Now the suffering is continuing, by the way. It's like on a downward trajectory. And Tinubu is doing everything in his power to make it continue going downward, right? But imagine that you have somebody, you know, you have 8 years of bad governance from the North. Somebody who ruled, like, the best way to describe Buhari's regime was like being led by a leader that is aloof, that is unconcerned, a leader that just doesn't care. Like, whatever is going on in the country, he just doesn't care. At one point, you even wonder if he's the one running the show. Anything goes. Insecurity continues. Poverty, okay. Whatever happens. He's either in hospital or he's visiting a foreign country or he's just not there. I mean, there was news that for how many months he did not step foot into his office. For months. And this is the kind of leader that we had in Nigeria for 8 years. And Tinubu's appeal to voters is, vote me in because I was the person who made this useless president. Why was that appealing to those who voted for him? Because they wanted a Muslim, Northern, Fulani, Hausa, whatever, leader to be president of the country. And Tinubu was the person who was very instrumental in making that possible for those in the North. And his appeal to them is, oh, I did it for you, now do it for me. That was like the summary of his campaign. And many people from the North voted for him for that reason. That is, and Tinubu, of course, is from the West. He's a Yoruba person from the Southwest. So when you see how Yorubas, especially the ones, the political class, the elite class, how they operate politically, you feel sorry for them, and then you're like, but you people should, at this point, maybe this is the one thing that will happen, or what is the one thing that will happen that will make you guys wake up to realize that you're the ones plotting your own downfall. You're the ones making this political decision that is putting people in this place. Like, I have more empathy. It's the truth. And I know it may not sound like, but I have more empathy for those who have been attacked in Jos and in Benue than I do for many of these people who are attacked in Kwara State and Ondo State. Some places in Ondo State are also getting attacked. I have more empathy for those in those areas like Benue and Jos, because I know that these people are not running politics like that. Anyway, enough of Nigerian politics. Let me not speak too much about it. Let's move on. I'm very sure that many in the comments are like, oh, please, we are not interested. 41 minutes telling us about Nigerian politics. I apologize, my bad. Anyway, guys, I know you don't like what you just had. But please smash the like button. Please smash the like button. I know I'm giving you unnecessary information about Nigerian politics, but please just smash the like button nonetheless, and tell me, don't worry, Frank, just keep saying it. Maybe we'll understand it eventually. Let me see what people in the comments, especially the Nigerians in the comments, are saying. This is from Anya Omesi. Said the Yorubas dislike the Igbos for the Yorubas dislike for Igbos cloud their judgments. Yes, Nigeria is I think that's part of what I was trying to explain. I don't know if I did a very good job in explaining it. Nigeria is a very tribalistic society. Very, very heavily tribalistic, country, where like the tribalism in this country is too much. It is too much. It is mainstream. It is not, people don't see tribalism as something that is bad. Like, how people get cancelled in the West for being racist, for being overt, obviously racist. You will see somebody in the West who is obviously tribalistic and he's not cancelled. Nothing happens to him. He goes on with his life. He does whatever. He succeeds. May even become president of the country. He will be CEO and he will not get fired for saying something that is heavy, that is an insult to a particular tribe. So that's kind of like how tribalism is in this country. And if you grew up in Lagos, like I grew up in Lagos, you understand just how much of like the hatred that different tribes in Nigeria have for each other. There are Yoruba landlords in Lagos. This is a known fact. Okay, there are Yoruba landlords in Lagos that openly do not rent their building or their apartments to Igbos. Like, Igbos are not allowed in their apartment. If you want to get a house there and you meet the landlord and you're like, oh, I want to, they will ask you, which tribe are you from? Which state are you from? If you say, I'm from Imo State or I'm from Abia State, these are like Igbo states, they will tell you plainly, I don't rent my properties or my property to Igbos. I don't. And that's why many of them end up going out of business and then have to sell their property to the Igbos that they don't want to rent it to. And that's how Igbos now have many landed properties in Lagos. And which is one of the reasons why Igbos are very much hated. They're very much hated, especially in Lagos. And Yorubas really, really, like, of course, when I say Yorubas, I'm just speaking in general terms. I don't mean every Yoruba person, okay? But most Yorubas really hate Igbos. That's just a fact. They really, really hate Igbos for whatever reason. Whenever I speak with my brother about it, he will say it's just jealousy. And I think it's jealousy. Jealousy plays a very huge, it's one of the reasons. Because, I mean, Igbos come from, you see an Igbo person coming from Enugu, coming from a village in Enugu, comes to Lagos. When he comes to Lagos, he lives under the bridge, lives like a homeless person, essentially. And then walks his way, gets a job. Not just gets a job, will make it look like he was submitting an application. No, he goes to the market and hustle. Okay? He hustles, selling whatever. Sometimes he goes from being a roadside seller to opening a store, from opening a store to opening chains of stores, or even go and become an apprentice for like 20 years. And after 20 years or after 10 years, whatever the time period is, he becomes a big man. Now he has chains of businesses. Now he's an importer and exporter. Now he's dealing in foreign currencies. Now he's traveling to China to import goods. Now he's dealing with foreigners and all whatnot. And he's doing that right in the same state as somebody from Lagos, born and bred in Lagos, who all they do with their time and life is to attend parties on Saturdays and Sundays, and every weekend they are partying, partying endlessly. And jealousy begins to settle. Jealousy begins to settle. And that's. I mean, there's this recorded phone call. There was a recorded phone call of one Oba one Yoruba Oba. Oba is like their king, their rural leader, rural community leader. And he was talking, and I think this Oba is from Lagos, and he was talking about how Igbos will be driven out of Lagos and how they will drive Igbos into the sea. That's the kind of rhetoric you hear from Yoruba. So yeah, the tribalism is real. It's really real, and is the reality of this great country, and proof that multiculturalism is your strength, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Before we proceed, I want to acknowledge Erico. Keep on showing what the media is refusing to talk about. I will 100%. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Shekels, you see, Mossad is paying me, ladies and gentlemen. Please, Mossad, send more money. Send more money. Anyways, moving on. There are some things that I spoke about in the last live stream that when I was thinking about it today, I was like, I wish I had spent more time talking about it. And one of them is the Deborah Yakubu story. I know I kind of said it in passing, but I think let us look at that story again. Okay, let's look at that story again. I think it's important to look at that news story again. And I think this article kind of does its best to capture what actually happened on that gruesome, on that ungodly day, that terrible day for in Sokoto. Anyways, said the article goes like this. Last week's gruesome murder of Deborah Yakubu, a home economics sophomore at the Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto, came at a time of escalating social and economic tension in Nigeria, and will most certainly raise the political stake as the country enters electioneering season in preparation for next year's presidential election. Okay, now you should understand that this happened like way back, many years ago, like a few years ago. Miss Yakubu was thought to have blasphemed Islam and the Prophet Muhammad after a voice note that she left on a WhatsApp group responding to another student's post on the theme of Islam. After responding to another student's post on the theme of Islam, rubbed her colleague the wrong way. Okay, let me read that again. Miss Yakubu was thought to have blasphemed Islam and the Prophet Muhammad after a voice note that she left on a WhatsApp group responding to another student's post on the theme of Islam rubbed her colleagues the wrong way. That's a very long sentence. I hope they could have broken that sentence. But anyways, after forcibly extracting her from a safe room where the school authorities had hoped to hide her, a mob, now listen to this is very important, a mob comprising of Mrs. Yakubu's colleagues struck her repeatedly with stones and curbs before eventually setting her lifeless body on fire, all the while shouting Allahu Akbar. I think this is important to note. The people who killed Yakubu, Deborah Yakubu, were her classmates. I often get this in the West where people would defend Islam, and not defend Islam, but or in their defense of Islam, would talk about how they know Muslims that are peaceful. Now, this is not me saying that Muslims are not peaceful. Of course, Muslims can be peaceful. Okay, Muslims can. You can have very moderate milquetoast Muslims who the hardcore Muslims who call hypocrites. And you can have them in the West who don't take their religion seriously, or don't take their religion as seriously as the Quran commands. Just like how you have Christians who don't take Christianity seriously. You have Christians who are just Christians in name only, or Christians who cherry pick what command of Jesus and the apostles they will obey. You have different, when in a religion, you have there's a whole spectrum of people in a religion. And I'm not trying to say every Muslim is devout, or every Muslim is true to the religion, or every Muslim tries to submit himself to Allah as Allah intends. But if you are one of those people who believe that because you have this nice Muslim classmate, because you have this nice Muslim neighbor, therefore Islam is peaceful, I want you to follow me and read this again and think about it. I'm not saying this is your neighbor. I'm not saying this is your classmate. I'm just saying you have to have this in mind. Keep this in mind. A mob comprising of Miss Yakubu's colleagues struck her repeatedly with stones and curbs before eventually setting her lifeless body on fire, all the while shouting Allahu Akbar. Maybe you should ask that for many of those people who like to bring that excuse, maybe you should ask that your Muslim friend. Tell them, please be honest with me. If someone is to insult Muhammad, what do you think should happen to that person? What do you think is the Islam? What do you think is not say? What do you think should? No, they might lie. They might still lie even if you shape it like this. But hopefully you can press them to really be honest with you. You can ask them, like, what exactly do you think Islam prescribes? What is the Islamic prescription for those who insult the Prophet of Allah? And it will shock you what some of them will say. The article continues. The sheer impunity of this act has triggered an outpouring of anger across the country. Various political and civil societies have condemned the killing and demanded the arrest and prosecution of the killers, which is yet to happen. This include the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Northern State Christian Elders Forum, the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, Amnesty International, the Muslim Media Practitioners of Nigeria, and the Humanist Association of Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari, the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Said Abubakar, former Senate President Pius Ayim, and Bishop Matthew Kuka of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto also joined the chorus of condemnation, the latter insisting on appropriate punishment for the killers, according to the extant law of our land. The reference to the extant law of our land is instructive, for it speaks to the underlying ideological chas. I don't know how that word is pronounced. That the northern and the southern part of the country have struggled to close since the dawn of political independence in 1960. Fundamentally, this boils down to the core question of Nigeria's political identity, how it should function as a secular federal state with a common set of laws, and the extent to which such a state might be expected to bend over backward to accommodate religious ideology, cultural practices that appear to diverge from, or sometimes pointedly contradict, secular precepts. And I want you guys to read this. Whenever you think about what is happening in the UK and how the UK government is bending over backwards to accommodate Islam and accommodate Muslims, I want you to know that this is what you're going to end up having. You're going to end up having a system like what we have in Nigeria, a country that claims to be secular, that has secular law, secular democracy, secular constitution, that does not have a recognized religion. We don't have a state religion in Nigeria. There is no state religion in Nigeria. This is a secular democracy. That is what the Constitution stipulates. That is what the Constitution professes. Yet, the Constitution also allows for various religious groups to organize and control themselves how they will. The country also allows for two criminal justice systems. Two criminal justice systems to operate in the country. One is secular and the other one is religious. And also, the country does not even enforce its laws. So that's another. People don't know this, but I studied law in the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Enugu campus. I studied law in the University of Nigeria. And one thing my lecturer said is that Nigerian lawmakers have this thing where they just make laws. Every 5 minutes, they are coming up with new laws. And he said the problem in Nigeria is not the laws, it's who is going to enforce it and will it ever be enforced? We have so many laws. We have, like, you can have 13 different legislation addressing a single issue in Nigeria. Like, you can have up to 13 or 15 or 20 different legislation addressing a single issue in Nigeria, and none of them are being enforced. And when it comes up as an issue in Nigeria, let's say it comes up as an issue in Nigeria next month, what the National Assembly would do is make another law and pass another law and say, we've passed another law again. And then they will celebrate it and they will call the press and say, see, we just did this very wonderful thing. We just passed the 99,000th law addressing this one issue. And that's just all there will be to it. Like, just passing of laws. Let's just keep passing out laws. But it doesn't address the issue. But that's by the way. The point is that we have a system in this country where we are trying to have a multicultural society and want to allow for people to freely practice their religion to the fullest extent. And that's what that has created is 12 states in Nigeria that enforces Sharia law. If the UK want to, borrow a leaf from Nigeria, it will mean parts of Birmingham with a Muslim majority will practice Sharia. Parts of Leicester with a Muslim majority will practice Sharia. So if you find yourself in the wrong side of town and you say Allah is a pedophile, you'll be, the death penalty will be your portion. The same thing in Nigeria. If you find yourself in the wrong state and you say something bad about Muhammad, the penalty is death. That is how it happens in Nigeria. That's the lesson I think the rest of the world should learn, especially the West, with how they are embracing Islam and talking about how Islam is peaceful and loving and wonderful and fantastic. It's not always the case. The second story that I want us to look at that we didn't really, I don't want to read the rest of the article. This is the part that I just want to get to. Is this news story about the butcher that was killed. I'm not going to, I'm just going to read this part. Just this part. Okay. I don't know if this is big enough. Let me make it big enough. Yep, I guess it's big enough now. Okay. A man was stoned to death after being accused of blasphemy in northwest Nigeria. Authorities and activists said, sparking outrage on Monday from rights groups worried about what they said was a growing threat to religious freedom in the region. There is no religious freedom. It says there's a threat to religious freedom. There's never been religious freedom. There's never really been religious freedom. Maybe there's a form of it. Christians are allowed to worship in, have churches in northern Nigeria. But to what extent is this religious freedom? It's just limited religious freedom. But that's not the part I want to talk about. Is this paragraph? Or is it this paragraph? Okay, yeah. It starts from here and it ends here. Okay. Usman Buddha, a butcher, was killed Sunday in Sokoto State in this district after he allegedly blasphemed the Holy Prophet Muhammad during an argument with another trader in a marketplace. That's the statement from the police. Now, residents share videos that appear to be from the scene showing a large crowd that included children. Let me read this again. Residents shared videos that appear to be from the scene showing a large crowd that included children pelting stones at Buddha on the floor as they cursed him. Even children. This is why when, especially with what is going on in Gaza and in Palestine, and they're like, oh, these innocent children. I'm like, that 14, 13-year-old innocent child, if he gets his hand on a Jew, if that innocent 13, 14-year-old find a way to get his hand on a Jew, oh my goodness. This is a different story. The different story that you'll be hearing. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about something else. All right, so let's talk about this news story. Okay, let's move from something morbid to something interesting. Okay. So according to the New York Post, Charlie Kirk wrote of his deep love for Israel in a letter to Netanyahu about how to counter rising opposition to the Jewish state in the US. So this is the letter we are going to try. I don't know if you guys are with me. Let us read through it. How much of this can I zoom? Okay, so this is the letter. For those who don't know, this letter has been, Candace Owens kind of made a big deal out of it. So we're going to look at how she did. But maybe let's get into that first. Let's start with that first before we proceed. So here is Candace Owens,
they're
making a big deal out of the letter.
There definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned.
This woman is just so despicable. But even when you watch her speak, it's like you are hearing the voice of a demon. I'm sorry, but that's just how, like, there's something in my mind, that in my chest, that just, whenever I just listen to Candace Owens, it's just like there is a burning sensation in my chest. Like I'm hearing the voice. I'm serious. It's like I'm hearing the voice of a demon. It's so annoying. Like, it's really, really, it's like punishing yourself. If you want to do penance, just listen to 5 hours of Candace Owens. And I'm telling you, your sins will be taken away. You are making it straight. You are skipping purgatory. In fact, you have done penance for yourself and for like 5 relatives. I'm telling you, they are all skipping purgatory straight into heaven. I'm telling you that if you're a Catholic and you believe in those things. Straight into heaven. This is like penance you are doing, just listening to Candace Owens, stuck with so much disdain, and as in, it's like you are hearing I'm serious, like you are hearing the voice of a demon.
About Israel and their influence on American politics, and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech here in America. Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a love letter to Israel. That's how it was presented. Would you guys agree? That's not how it happened. Let's stop saying how Charlie felt. And instead, if you're going to hold up the letter, release it in its entirety. Okay? And lies by severe omission, I'd like to be very clear, are lies. And does anybody want to jump in and say, no, yeah, the letter Charlie wrote him in May was just like a glowing, he just was overcome with passion and said, I love Israel. You guys are amazing. You're beautiful. We're going to win this thing and you're perfect and doing nothing wrong. Love you, Bibi. Homie very quickly told us that Charlie was penning love letters to him in May.
Candace was making a huge deal out of these letters. She was like, for days, she was talking in her podcast about the letters, release the letters. We want to see the full content of the letter. You can see her here just doing that, going over and over again, whining and talking about the letter. Let us see the letter. Bibi is lying. Essentially, he's saying Bibi is lying by omission. And by lying by omission, she meant that Bibi was not telling the full content of the letter. And although she doesn't say it, but she's implying that that Charlie was not, said things in that letter that is kind of like condemning Benjamin Netanyahu and how he is controlling America, essentially, how free speech is under attack because of him and because of Israel. Israel, the way Candace usually loves to pronounce it. That's kind of what she's going at. And how, if the full letter is released, we'll see just how Charlie was not in good terms with Bibi and was really, really, really angry with him and angry with his administration and angry with all of them and really was not in support of Israel, and how his support of Israel was kind of dwindling and fading away and all whatnot. That's what Candace is promising us. And it's like, release that letter. I want to see everything in it. Show us everything in this letter. That's kind of what she's demanding. And I mean, we've seen this over and over again with Candace Owens. At this point, anybody who is keeping track would know that anytime Candace Owens, something comes out of her mouth, it should be questioned. In fact, the likelihood of whatever she's saying being false is like 90%. She's rarely correct, especially when she says, my sources tell me, someone told me, I have been informed, some people close to the matter have spoken to me, I have special information about what is going on. Whenever those words come out of her mouth, she's lying. She's most of the time she's lying. There is every indication that she's just lying. She did that with the meeting in the Hamptons. Remember that? Oh, Bill Ackman and Seth Dillon, we are threatening Charlie, and they had an intervention for Charlie Kirk, and we are demanding that he do not say this, and this, and we are really demanding him. And 150 million was offered. And then she was like, I dare them to say that's not what happened. I dare these people to say that's not what happened. I dare any of them to contradict this narrative that I just made up. And then everyone involved in the meeting, everyone who was present came out and said, that did not happen. That did not happen. They categorically refuted every claim that she made. She said she was going to leak text messages to show that they are all lying. We have not seen any text message. Is there a text message that she has shared that I'm not aware of? We've not seen any text message. None whatsoever. She told Tucker and the likes, Dave Smith and so, to release text messages. Where is that text message? Where are the text messages, Candace Owens? To the fans of Candace Owens, to people who think this woman has good sense and knows what she's saying, ask her the next time you hear her speak, the next time you go to watch her, put it in the comment section. Send it as a tip.candice.owens, tips@candiceowens.com. Send it as a tip. Please, ma, we are worried. We want to know, where are the leaked text messages that you have been promising us? Where are those text messages? We haven't seen anyone. None. The same thing with this letter. She made a big deal about it. Bibi is lying. Bibi is lying. Bibi is lying over and over again. Bibi is not telling us the whole story. When you read the full letter, you're going to see that Charlie, he was shifting away from Israel, that Charlie was no longer a staunch supporter of Israel, that this was not a love letter. Oh, he's making it look like it's a love letter about how he wants to have sex with Israel, essentially. That is how Candace is painting the whole thing. Like, no, that's not the case. He's painting it like that. Bibi is painting it like that. But if you read the whole story, you're going to see that Charlie was very, So here she is again doing it. And here's the letter. The letter is out. The letter is out. And trust me, it is not as Candace Owens has said it is. This is a 7-page letter. I don't know if we'll be able to go through it, honestly. I was like, we're going to go through it, but I'm like, man. But let's just see how far we can go. Okay. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, one of my greatest joy as a Nigerian, one of my greatest joy as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews in the fight to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. That word that Candace hates. Yeah, it is. Judeo-Christian civilization. Most recently, I am proud to have taken over Ambassador Yakubu's show on TBN, where we continually support Israel and the Jewish people. As Mohammedism spreads into Western societies, it is critical that Jews and Christians stay united in the effort to contain and roll back radical Islam and Sharia law. Tucker Carlson, what is Sharia law? Those talking about Sharia law don't know what they're talking about. Here he is, talking about the war, how he's trying to combat Sharia law and radical Islam. Then he said, I regret to report that anti-Israel and anti-Semitic trends are at record levels on social media. These negative sentiments then flow downstream into college campuses and even seeps into the conservative MAGA community. Listen to how he said, I regret to report that anti-Israel and anti-Semitic trends are at record levels on social media. These negative sentiments then flow downstream into college campuses and even seep into the conservative MAGA community. Candace, he's talking about you. He's talking about you. He's talking about the worrying concern of people like you and how you people have been wooed by radical Islam and by stupid narratives and conspiracy theories. He continues, my team and I have spent months analyzing these trends and debating ideas that could help you and your country push back against these disturbing developments. Anti-Israel sentiments can undermine American support for Israel. The purpose of this letter is to lay out our concern and outline potential remedies. Everything written here is from a place of deep love for Israel and the Jewish people. I think it is important to be brutally honest with those you love. In my opinion, Israel is losing the information war and needs a communications intervention. This is what Charlie was talking about. I don't know how any of this is. I'm no longer in support of Israel. Essentially, he's talking about how Israel should do better in the propaganda war. How Israel should do better in communicating the truth to people who have been fed lies by Islamists and conspiracy theorists. I started to compose this letter to you on Easter. I should have been focused on my family, but I was getting bombarded with messages about the Israeli army, making it difficult for Christians to access church in Jerusalem on Easter. At the time, I did not see any official statement pushing back on this narrative. It was frustrating because pro-Israel surrogates like me should not be in charge of fact-checking every piece of anti-Israel information that pours into social media. It wasn't just Easter. On my recent campus tour, half the questions I get about Israel, half the questions I get are about Israel, and they are all negative. You see what he's saying? He's saying, look, whenever, during Easter, these are the kind of information I was getting about how the IDF is preventing people, of course, which is a lie, or which is misrepresented. And it's like, I shouldn't be the one countering this. You people should be better at countering this and putting up counters to this. He said, on my recent campus, half of the questions I get are about Israel and they are all negative. I often spend half my time on these campus tours defending Jews and Israel, which I'm proud to do because I love Israel and I love the Jewish people. I spent endless hours with Dennis Prager over the years studying the Torah. Candace, did you hear that? He spent endless hours with Dennis Prager over the years studying the Torah. Sometimes it feels like I'm defending Israel in public more than your own government. My experience on college campuses matches a recent Harvard-Harris poll, which reports 48% of 18 to 24-year-old Americans support Hamas over Israel, which is a very concerning trend. Even in young MAGA circles, Israel is losing support. We are getting a huge crowd of 4,000 to 5,000 students on some of my college campus tour. My campus visits are becoming like a rock concert atmosphere filled with conservative patriots. Yet on these campus visits, I am constantly confronted with Israel is an apartheid state. Why does Israel conduct ethnic cleansing? Why is America subsidizing Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people? Is American aid helping to subsidize Israel free healthcare? Israel and Jews are running U.S. foreign policy. Israel and Jews are responsible for 9/11. Defending Israel in our U.S. is not our U.S. national interest. Why is Israel trying to drag us into a war in the Middle East? Now, Charlie is saying that these are the kind of questions he's getting from conservatives, and especially young conservatives, and it is alarming. It is problematic. Now, the question is, who are the people who are the public figures in the conservative movement that has made this a trend? Who are the people that have made this a trend? Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes. These are the people that have made this a trend among conservatives. These are the people that have made this what young conservatives believe about Israel. Above are just a sample of the negative Israel-Jewish comments and questions I confront on college campuses. I'm accused of being a paid apologist for Israel when I defend her. However, if I don't defend Israel strongly enough, I am accused of being an anti-Semite. I know you've got a 7-front war. And my, I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay, and my whatever pales in comparison. But I'm trying to convey to you that Israel is losing support even in conservative circles. This should be a 5-alarm fire. I'm often asked, why is Israel killing so many innocent civilians in Gaza? I know Israel goes to great lengths by dropping flyers and even calling civilians to clear out of areas about to be bombed. I know Israel posts maps showing where areas should be evacuated. I know Hamas uses civilians as human shields. But 90% of young generation got their news from social media and podcasts, and there is very little pushback or fact-checking by the Israeli government or pro-Israeli supporters in the media, especially social media. I strongly suggest Israel not always depend on subcontracting their information war to surrogates in America. Mr. Prime Minister, I urge you to revamp your information warfare strategy from top to bottom. Sometimes the impression is given that Israel thinks everyone hates them, so why care about winning over hearts and minds? If there's any truth to this impression, I urge you to consider that social media and podcasts is where your fight for hearts and mind is where you fight for the hearts and minds of the young generation. Obviously, all this negative Israel propaganda on social media easily translates into pro-Hamas, free Palestine sentiments on many college campuses. Here are some unsolicited recommendations my team and I suggest if you are open-minded to a communications reset. First, for starters, you need a rapid response media team. President Trump does this very effectively on social media with his own account and his White House Rapid Response 47 team. The president has strong fighters like Stephen Miller and Caroline Leavitt who battle the press every day. Honestly, I don't even know if you have a press secretary. You're an eloquent defender of Israel, but you need a team of information warriors out there pushing back every day in real time. When you don't push back, anti-Semitism and anti-Israel propaganda fill the void. A pro-Israel friend recently asked me, do Israelis even care how the world perceives their country? 2, I strongly recommend putting together a team of pro-Israel experts who can fact-check misinformation in real time from Israel. Israel needs to take the lead in this effort. No more independence or subcontractors. Israel never asks for American troops because Israel does its own fighting. I suggest the same approach to the information war, or the same approach for the information war. You lead and people like me will follow and provide supplementary support. If you are open to revamping your communication strategy, my team and I are happy to assist. This is somebody who Candace Owens wants us to believe is no longer in support of Bibi Netanyahu and no longer in support of Israel. Yet here he is offering that Turning Point USA will assist the Israeli government in fighting misinformation about Israel. 3, you need something perhaps like an Israel Truth Network, which can include social media channels and a one-step source of information website where, for example, all the negative Israel question I get can be thoroughly debunked. I would love to refer students to such a website. This website could also be a conduit for groups like Hillel and Jewish educators like Dennis Prager. There can be links to books, podcasts, media personalities, and pro-Israel thought leaders. The website can be a place where Judeo-Christian leaders and groups can share information and form closer alliance in the fight against Islamic fundamentalism. ITN social media can post pro-Israel, pro-Judeo-Christian video clips, breaking news, and articles. ITN could potentially be a news aggregation site for all news pertaining to Israel and Judeo-Christian efforts to preserve Western civilization. I mean, look at the kind of... This Charlie is a very smart, articulate person. And reading this letter is making me... my appreciation for how pragmatic and how thoughtful he is really increasing. Or how he was, rather, not is. He was pragmatic and thoughtful and very articulate and very, very forward-thinking, very solution-oriented, coming up with steps and guidelines on how to tackle issues. I really appreciate that about him. I mean, imagine what if this particular suggestion, imagine if this was implemented, and if this has been implemented since the start of this war, how effective it will have been. I think it will have been effective. Granted, some people will be anti-Semitic no matter what, but some people are anti-Semitic because they are being fed the wrong information. Trust me, so many people don't support Israel because they have been fed lies upon lies upon lies about Israel. Anyway, moving on. 4th suggestion. Have you considered inviting some of the released hostages to go on a speaking tour in the US? This could be very effective messaging. Those hostages can talk about how Gazan civilians not once offered any sympathy or compassion. President Trump referenced this lack of humanity when some released hostages visit the Oval Office. This was effective messaging. When impactful messaging clicks, keep it going. Also, these hostages and all your spokespersons should be arguing it is Hamas that is committing genocide on their own people by using civilians as human shields and storing weapons in schools, hospitals, etc. That information drips out in the regular media but is almost non-existent in social media. 5, maybe interview regular Israelis on the streets, asking them what they love about their country. Interview Jews, Israeli Arabs, Druze, Orthodox, secular, etc. Ask Israeli what do they wish the world knew about Israel. Ask them to respond to examples of misinformation on social media. This could be an entire social media PR campaign called "Dude, You Got Us Wrong." Interview Israelis from all walks of life, all walks of life. Let Israelis explain in their own words how Israel is a pluralistic society, a free country with elected leaders, unlike all of the surrounding authoritarian Arab nations. Why not show how your hospitals take care of wounded terrorists? Why not show clips of Israel dropping flyers from airplanes warning Gazan civilians to get out of harm's way? It would have been nice to see an Israeli plane with a Star of David arrive in the US full of supplies after a hurricane. Has Israel offered any assistance to the US insofar as technology to protect our borders, or with the missile defense shield President Trump has discussed? These are examples of effective messaging showing Israel as a close ally of America. Consumers of social media are aware of the billions in supply we send to Israel, but they are less aware of what America gets in return. You and your team need to make the argument on social media that Israel is a great friend of America and is vital to the US national security. Israel needs to better portray itself as a member of Team Humanity. Israel needs to establish a baseline of her identity. To run an effective messaging campaign, you need a clearly defined message. This message should be homegrown from Israel. In other words, create original content from Israel, videos and visuals, feed social media. Keep these edited clips short, under 1 minute, and post the best one on the Israel Truth Network. Don't rely on non-Israeli social media influencers to create all these clips. Create them yourselves. An influencer surrogate like me can promote this original work and refer people to your social media and website. Be proactive, take the lead. Bottom line is, Israel needs to learn to fish, i.e. create your own content and be more reliant and be more self-reliant when it comes to your communication strategy. Iran. That's when it's called number 6. Iran. Israel could do a better job explaining the Iranian threat. Among the many conservatives who support Israel, there is a concern that America could become entangled in a quagmire in Iran. My generation grew up with disasters in Afghanistan and Iraq. We were promised there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, which proved to be a lie. Our generation was also lied to by the government of Israel and the US that COVID vaccines were safe and effective. Israeli intelligence missed the boat on October 7, but we are asked to trust Israeli intelligence 100% that Iran is on the cusp of obtaining nuclear weapons. Young conservatives are very skeptical of government proclamations. We don't fully trust intelligence assessments. Right now, it seems like Israel is primarily relying on Americans to make the case for attacking Iranian nuclear sites. This argument got a lot of blowback in MAGA circles. Other than you, Mr. Prime Minister, I see very few Israelis making this case in the media, social media, or podcast. Many agree with you, myself included, that Iran should not get nuclear weapons. At the same time, I share the concern that America will get stuck in another endless war, costing thousands of American lives. Where are the Israelis who are arguing their case to win over public opinion? Israel should make its case 24/7 on social media, including long-form English-speaking podcasts and social media channels and websites, such as a rapid response team and ITN. You can see the kind of... Sorry, I'm going through all of this, but we'll soon be done. And it's already starting to rain where I am. I hope it doesn't affect the live stream. But if it does, God help us. Okay, 7. A paradigm shift is needed in how Israel presents itself to the world, especially on social media. Perhaps the best way to convey my thoughts here is to think of Israel as a political candidate, in this case, a young woman who grew up on social media. Who is this candidate and what does she stand for? Right now, there's essentially a massive negative ad campaign spreading on social media. These negative ads are defining this candidate. Political campaigns face this challenge all the time. Many of the PR challenges Israel faces should be looked at through the prism of a political campaign. Like any campaign, the first task is to define the candidate. Right now, there is not a one-stop shopping resource where young people can learn about this candidate. Every candidate has a website and social media. It will be political malpractice to omit this too. Sorry for the brutal honesty, but Israel's approach to social media is PR malpractice. Your candidate should list all the toughest questions she gets on the campaign trail with detailed expert responses, add footnotes on her ITN website, and use social media to explain her platform on a daily basis. These responses becomes part of Miss Israel's platform, where her position and values are explained. Like any political campaign, you need surrogates who can articulately promote this candidate's platform and identity. Right now, Israel identity is being fabricated by those who hate her, by a barrage of misinformation in the media, especially social media. Fake news becomes real news if there is not effective pushback. When a candidate is hit with negative campaign ads, the effective response is for the candidate to personally respond to these attack ads. A candidate doesn't just rely on surrogate to get the truth out. One of Israel's biggest, most fundamental problem is typically your pushback is a third-person voice. I do the third-person voice all the time as I attempt to defend the candidate, Israel. But I don't live in Israel, so I'm more likely an attorney defending a client. Israel, the client, also need to defend itself. I wish I had a first-person source of information I could reference where students and Israel skeptics could learn more about the client called Israel. You need a one-stop shopping resource where Israel's platform and beliefs can be spelled out. You need more Israeli surrogates speaking out on behalf of their candidate. At the moment, you have some wonderful non-Israeli surrogates speaking on behalf of a candidate that has not defined herself, especially when it comes to social media. I know it's common to think that social media, especially TikTok, is a waste of time. I thought similar a year ago, but TikTok algorithms have changed. I have increased my followers on TikTok from approximately 1 million to 6.6 million in the last year. We got billions with a B views on TikTok. My campus stores last fall and this spring has received approximately 5 billion impressions. Elon Musk is a good friend to Israel, so X offers a great opportunity to make inroads on social media. Israel should not sit back and allow its enemies to define her. A recent Pew Research poll shows 53% of America now have an unfavorable view of Israel, up from 42% 3 years ago. US support for Israel is precarious right now. A new media strategy is urgently needed. I understand social media as well as anyone in the world. From my vantage point, Israel have retreated from social media without a fight. How are you going to win over young generations if you are starting out in retreating on social media? Younger generations use the TV for Netflix, not the evening news. Narratives for younger and even middle-aged people are fought now on social media. Mr. Prime Minister, stop this retreat. Get in the information war fight. The front lines of this information war are on social media. Other than a few guerrilla warfare operations, there is very little Israel-created content. I saw that Israel has increased its Hasbara budget by 20 times, which is great news. There's also hundreds of millions of dollars raised by private pro-Israel groups. Some of this money should be directed into creating pro-Israel original homegrown content. Next, promote this content on Israel-operated social media channels and websites. Use some of this fund to start the ITN. All right, we are getting to the end of this. To sum up, you should perhaps consider reshaping your Hezbollah department into a more of a political campaign headquarters with campaign narrative experts. This department could be the mothership hosting ITN, where the messaging campaign can be created and then distributed to the pro-Israel groups and thought leaders. Wow. I mean, this letter is like detailed. Okay, we are almost there. Okay. Majority of staff in these efforts should be in their 20s and 30s. The older generation alone is not going to win the information war on social media. You need to fill the ranks with young people who grew up with cell phones and social media, not pay phones and TV news. Once the candidate is defined with a platform backfilled with extensive details, then allow the political operatives to take that platform out into social media with an out-of-the-box approach, like some of the earlier suggestions. I've seen your IDF spokesman defend Israel standing at a dimly lit podium. This looks like a scene out of the 1970s, like some odd Walter Cronkite clips of the TV news. You need to tear down your old way of communicating and start over from scratch. Create a communication and social media platform that is wired to fight back with the same fierceness and determination as the IDF. Wow. Israel has many Americans and some well-known foreigners who defend Israel, which is great. But these are third-person voices. Mr. Prime Minister, you are an eloquent defender of Israel, but you don't post very often on social media. Many of your clips are in Hebrew only. Why don't you do more press conference in Israel in English? Take on some of the tough questions I get bombarded with on college campuses. Where are all the Israeli surrogates? I can't remember the last time I saw an Israeli spokesperson on one of the evening Fox show other than yourself. Israel needs more first-hand voices to defend her. How can Israel defend and define itself if you don't even have spokespersons out there fighting back every day? Do you have a press secretary like Caroline Leavitt or defenders like Stephen Miller? If not, I encourage you to find them. You need more Israeli spokespersons who are effective speakers in the media and on social media. I know you also have a serious deep state lawfare challenge. My team and I have been fighting the deep state every single day for many years. Maybe a revamped information war strategy can help with your internal fights as well. Israel has enormous capacity, such as how you orchestrate your beeper bomb operative. Perhaps Israel can use some of that same ingenuity to more effectively fight the information war in the media, especially on social media. Israel is the Silicon Valley of the Middle East. Israel has an abundance of brain power and technological expertise. The question is whether Israel has the willpower to step up its game in this information war. From my vantage point, the status quo is not working. Israel is getting crushed on social media, and you are losing the younger generation. You are losing younger generations of Americans, even among MAGA conservatives. In my opinion, you are losing the information war, which will eventually translate into less political and military support from America. The Holy Land is so important to my life, and it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Feel free to contact me on my private number below if you would like to discuss this further. So yeah, that's the letter, ladies and gentlemen. That is the letter. That is the letter in full. And as you can see, Charlie was eventually no longer a supporter of Israel, according to what Candace Owens would want to have us believe. According to statements like this. Let's finish what she had to say.
I just find that weird that no one wants to address the substance of the claims here, whether or not maybe Bill himself has an opinion on whether Bibi lied by severe omission when he mentioned his last correspondences with Charlie. And you're doubling down on your lie. I told you to publish the full letter that Charlie wrote you, not lines of it. Okay? It's a lie by omission. Doing Fox News and Greta Van Sustern's show, he lied about the contents of a letter that Charlie Kirk had written him.
Remember on September 18th,
so the question now is, what part, where did, I think the question for Candace Owens and the likes is, what part of what Bibi said about the letter that Charlie wrote him, what part of it is a lie? What part of it was false? What part of it was a misrepresentation by omission? Now that we've seen the full content of the letter, where is the lie? Where did Bibi misrepresent Charlie? I mean, you can clearly see from this letter that this Charlie was a staunch supporter of Israel and did not want to see Israel fail, especially when it had to do with the fact with the information warfare. Yes, Israel is winning the actual war on the ground, but when it comes to information and when it comes to the information warfare, Israel is losing. It's a fact. It's a fact. I mean, think about it. When you talk about supporters of Israel, yes, there are many people from Israel that are doing the supporting, but you have me. Of course, I'm a very tiny voice, so let's not even mention myself. You have apostate prophets. You have David Wood. You have Douglas Murray. You have Konstantin Kisin, who is kind of not really like as like a staunch supporter. And then you had in the past tense, you had Charlie Kirk, but unfortunately, he has been assassinated. Who are the people who are the strong voices, pro-Israel voices? They are surrogates and people who, okay, you have Christian Prince, that's true. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Sorry. You have Christian Prince. You just have a handful of people, and many of them are not Israelis. They are not Israelis. And many of us, why we support Israel is because they are fighting jihadists. The truth is, I love Israel like I love Israel like I love South Africa. It's just like I love people. It's kind of like I love love. It's like I love the world, you know. But the reason why I support Israel is because they are fighting Hamas. If, let's say, Israel is having an internal conflict, like I've been told that there's internal conflict in Israel, I don't care about that. I've never covered that because I don't care. What is my business? Whatever internal conflict is going on amongst certain sets or certain groups in Israel or certain political blocs in Israel, I don't care about that. What I care about is the fight, and that is why I'm supporting Israel, and that is why I'm a staunch supporter of Israel. That is it. That is it. So who will be a more effective supporter? Who will be a much effective communicator of why Israel is important and why Israel needs to be supported than those who are in that country who really feel the weight? Let the staunch voices, the prominent voice. I'm not saying there are no voices from Israel. There are. I mean, we have the traveling class. We have Mansour. We have Rebecca. These are like small voices at the end of the day. Yes, they are like significant voices, but they are small. In the grand scale of things, like in the grand scheme of things, these people are small. So it is really true that Israel is losing the PR war. It is really, really true. Imagine that the person defending you is about to have internet issues because it is raining. That is your staunch defender. Israel, that is your staunch defender. That is all, like Charlie was saying in the letter. But Candace is like, yeah, true. There is Sahar TV. That's true. That is true. There is even there's this one I saw. I've forgotten their name. I've forgotten their name. Is this channel? I think it's a channel from Israel too. Forgotten their name. But anyway, the bottom line is they are not much. They are not much. Most of the prominent voices when it has to do with this war are anti-Israel voices. That is the reality. So you can understand where Charlie was coming from. And you can see that this is somebody who really loves Israel, not somebody who hates the nation, not somebody whose view on Israel was changing, not somebody who was beginning to see that Judo-Christian values are like America is not a Judo-Christian nation, and there's no such thing as Judo-Christian culture. No, that was not the leaning of Charlie Kirk from this letter. That is not the case. Yeah, I recognize Rebecca. I've even done live streams with Rebecca, but I'm saying these are small voices. We don't have many prominent voices from Israel that are staunch supporters of Israel. We don't have, prominent. Emphasis is on prominent voices. Of course, there are many voices, but how many of them are prominent? How many of them are penetrating the US audience, the Western audience? How many of them are really, really doing that? That's the issue. That is the thing being talked about here, you know. Except for, in fact, the big prominent voice, which seems like a single voice in a sea of voices, is Douglas Murray. Like Douglas Murray, that's the only like when it comes to voice that is very, very prominent, that has media clout, it's Douglas Murray. Okay, I stand corrected, I guess. Anyways, moving on. Where was I? Not moving on, but I just want to show you guys instances of Candace Owens claiming that Bibi was misrepresenting the letter. Here is one instance. Let me just bring out the instances and put them side by side each other. Let me bring them, all of them out. Just put them side by side. Oh, why is that just two? So here she is posting a message she got from Charlie on May 22nd to show that, you know, Bibi was lying by omission. He said, I knew Bibi was lying about the letter in May because Charlie would message me about his concern about Israel and send me his tweet he published to that effect. Like I said, we never for a single second stopped being friends, and pursuing this lie will only further embarrass Zionists. Okay, that's what she said. This is tweet from 19 September. Here she is again. On 12 September, Bibi lied about the content of the letter Charlie wrote to him in May. It was a lie by severe omission, and it isn't sitting right with me. Candace. Here's another one. Please, guys, I don't know, our viewership is dropping. So please, if you can, smash that like button, okay? Smash it, destroy it, demolish the like button. And yeah, demolish that like button. We are 28 right now, watching live. So just keep smashing that like button. Just, especially the one in the live chat. Just smash. Let's get love, lots and lots and lots of love. Anyways, here is another one from Candace Owens. Here she said, okay, I think I've opened this one. Oh, so I had like two links that were essentially the same. Anyway, last one. It is 100% true that Charlie opposed war with Iran and was fighting with his donors over Israel, as Tucker Carlson just shared on Megyn Kelly's show. This is why I am discomforted by the intentional lie by omission that Bibi told on Fox News about the letter Charlie wrote him. You see her repeating this over and over again. Over and over again. I wonder if she's going to address this on her next show, or if she's going to say, oh, the letter is fake, or I don't trust that letter has not been doctored by Netanyahu. I doubt that this is actually what Charlie said. I believe that there is more that is being hidden. Let us see the full content of this letter, even though the full content has been released. That's what I'm hoping for. Is it that she's going to say, oh, I don't trust that this is the letter that was sent, or she's just going to ignore it like she ignored like, you know, when she when she said that there was an intervention that was staged and all whatnot, and then it was shown that she was lying. What she did next was to just not talk about it and kind of act like that did not happen. Just memory hold the whole thing. Probably that's what is going to be her next approach. Pretend like she never made the claim. Pretend like this is nothing. Pretend like this does not prove anything. And I don't know how many times this lady is going to lie before, as in lie and lie repeatedly, before her audience, her staunch fans are going to realize this person is just a liar. This person is just lying. Lying on repeat. Anyways, what else am I going to talk about? Okay. Before we move on, Candace Owens has a new claim. You know, just in case you are wondering, oh, is she done talking? No, she's not. She has a new claim. This is the one I saw recently that Candace Owens have, the new claim that is coming out from Candace Owens. She has, her sources have revealed to her something new, something fresh, something that no one has ever thought of, something that you have never imagined before. Her sources have revealed to her something that is of great importance that will change your understanding of Charlie's murder and who the culprit truly is?
Of most interest to me, what I've learned is that his father does not believe, his parents don't believe that their son committed this crime. I was like, huh? Excuse me? That's a far cry from what the media has been telling us. Remember, the media presented this amazing story.
So she's claiming that according to what a private source, private, people who report to tips at CandaceOwens.com, according to the private information she's getting from very reliable sources, according to those people, the parents of Tyler Robinson do not believe that their son was responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk. And she's saying that she has credible evidence to this effect. Of course, those credible evidence to the effect will never be published. Never. We are going to take her word for it that she had access to private information that shows that, the media and the FBI and the authorities are lying.
The father realized his son was guilty, so it goes, right? And then he phoned over a friend to help him convince his son to turn himself in, because this guy, this mysterious guy was a friend and just had a connection with Tyler. And eventually they said, you got to do the right thing here. We know this is you. That was the vibe. Certainly that's what the media was putting down for us to pick up. Well, I was told actually that it was kind of the opposite. That quote unquote family friend, who we learned was a former detective with the police force, at least, and so therefore has strong ties with the police station, informed the family. It was that in-between person that informed the family that Tyler had been identified as the shooter. He recognized him. He knows Tyler. He gives them the heads up. And then I'm told, and I believe this, that the way in which he got arrested, or rather turned himself in, was because that family friend / neighbor / former detective told him, hey, it's best for you to turn yourself in because there's only one of two options here. Either you turn yourself in and everything is peaceable, or...
So imagine what Candace wants us to believe. So sometimes when Candace tells a ridiculous story, you have to ask yourself, just how ridiculous is this story? So this is what Candace Owens wants us to believe. She wants us to believe that Tyler Robinson's father turned his son over to the authorities and was not convinced that his son actually was guilty of the offense. So the father turned over his son to the authorities, but was not sure about it, was not convinced. It was a family friend who convinced them, who tried to make them believe. Like, imagine that you are a father and your son you are suspecting that your son did something as heinous as killing a prominent conservative figure on college campus, and you are not sure about it, and you are going to call the police on your son because a friend told you to do so. I would not do that. The only thing that will make the father turn his son over to the authorities, or allow his son to even turn himself over to the authorities, is if he is convinced that his son did it. The official narrative, which Candace is trying to refute, has stated that it was the father that turned his son over and that the son confessed to him, plus the text messages that we have, plus other corroborating evidence that we have. But Candace Owens wants us to disregard all of that and listen to her reliable source. And this is what I hate the most about this. I wish these sources have names to them. Remember, the 150 million was offered to Charlie. And then there is an anonymous source. An anonymous source said. I wish these sources can just be bold enough to give us their names. If they don't have name, when it comes to Candace Owens, this is my rule. If her sources don't have names, then they don't exist. Candace, give us a name. You know how you make demands. You want Bibi Netanyahu to answer your questions and tell you what exactly is going on. You know how you make demands. I have my own demands too. Candace Owens, give us a name. Tell us who exactly Let us know your source. We demand. We deserve to know. Let us know who those sources are. Who are the people telling you this nonsense?
You know, the SWAT team could come in here and arrest you and things would get crazy. So that's what happened. He went over to their house. Tyler was called over. Tyler was bewildered. He disputed the idea that he had murdered Charlie Kirk. In fact, according to my source, Tyler has never,
according to her source, Tyler has
even stepped foot on UVU campus.
According to Candace's source, Tyler has never set foot on UVU, according to her source.
Tyler, it turns out, which has already been revealed, was accepted into Utah State University, not Utah Valley. And that's actually interesting if you pause and reflect on that, because we didn't really consider how on earth Tyler became not just familiar with the layout of the campus, but familiar with the rooftop layout of UVU campus. So
I think we've had enough. We've had enough of this mad person. Now let's listen to someone who is not as crazy. Or let's hear from someone who is not as crazy, but is clearly dragging herself, towards that train of craziness. And I'm talking of none other than Megyn Kelly. It's so unfortunate how this woman is behaving, especially when it has to do with Charlie and Israel and Tucker and Candace. She has crowned herself the defender of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. That is what Megyn Kelly has crowned herself, the staunch defender of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. So after the New York Post published the article and released the full letter that Candace wanted us to have access to, Megyn Kelly posted this on Twitter. The Charlie Kirk letter to Bibi is interesting for obvious reasons, but if you want to hear Charlie in his own words, speaking to a friend about his feelings on Israel and the pressure on him, it is all here on August 6th. No filter needed. Just listen to him. And of course, we've listened to this. This is that clip. I don't know if I still have it. That clip of I don't know if I don't have it anymore. But that's the clip of her and Charlie discussing pressure from pro-Israel groups, pressuring them with regards to, the people they host on their platform and the kind of, especially with Megyn Kelly having MTG and Tucker Carlson, and also with Charlie also having Tucker Carlson on his Turning Point USA events, and how some people have gone as far as calling them anti-Semites because of who they choose to platform on their show and who they choose to have around them and have on their events to speak to young conservatives. Which is kind of ironic for me at the end of the day. Like, these people are in private to express concern about the rise of anti-Semitism and how the support for Israel is dwindling. These people in private to express that concern, and then in public will platform the very people who are contributing to the decline in support for Israel. It's kind of, I don't understand it, but I don't know, whatever. And but look at this tweet. Here is what it looks like Megyn is suggesting. Because although she will say she did not say it, but come on. Sometimes what people hear is what you did not say. She said, Charlie's letter to Bibi is interesting for obvious reasons. I don't know what those obvious reasons are, but fine. But if you want to hear Charlie in his own words, meaning the letter does not contain Charlie's own words and does not express Charlie's own words expressing his feeling about Israel and the pressure on him. And then she says, no filter needed. Also, she's claiming that the letter has filter. It's filtered. Like, you are not getting Charlie's honest opinion in this letter. You are getting a filtered opinion of Charlie. You are getting, you're not getting Charlie's own words. That means these are not the words of Charlie. Someone else wrote this. Is that what she's suggesting? That is her response. There is nothing you are going to like. There is nothing anyone is going to do to convince people otherwise of what they've already made up their mind that they're already going to believe. What kind of tweet is this? What kind of tweet is this? And then someone, I like some of the response to this tweet. Like Laura Luma said, we have eyes and ears, Megan. We don't need you to filter anything for us. We can all read the letter to see what Tucker and Candace have been saying is completely false. Everyone wants to cash in on that Islamic money. Then Megan said, great, use your eyes to read the letter, use your ears to listen to Charlie on my show from August the 6th, where we had a great heart-to-heart on this very subject. So, and I think she's insisting that, you know, we are not getting the genuine, authentic Charlie Kirk in that letter. That's essentially what these people are trying to say. And it's so unfortunate that this is what people are doing. These people like Megan, who claim to be friends of Charlie, this is what they are doing at a time where Charlie cannot speak for himself because he's not with us anymore. Now that he cannot speak for himself because he's not with us anymore, they are trying to say, oh, this is not a heart-to-heart conversation we are getting from this letter. Come and hear the heart-to-heart conversation on my show. That is where Charlie really poured out his heart. That is where Charlie really told us how he felt about Israel. Even though nothing in that conversation has to do with him no longer supporting Israel. But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't stop there. So why, after she made this tweet, someone in her comments said, if you can't separate yourself from Candace Owens, if you can't separate yourself from Candace Owens, many of us are going to separate ourselves from you. We do not have to align with everyone that claims to be of the right when their motives and history are shady as hers. That's what someone said. This is a random user that goes by Florida Dad. And then Megan respond, look at this. No, I have no obligation to separate myself from anyone. I run my own media company and my own show. This is where I express my own opinion and I decide what and what not to opine on. If you need me to condemn Candace or Tucker for their opinions in order to listen to me, then I may not be for you. He is a close friend and she's under enough pressure without gratuitous shots from me. My fight is with the left, not these two. So that's what she said. Now, first of all, she said, I have no obligation to separate myself from anyone. Megan, I don't know why you're sounding like this. Nobody is putting you under any obligation to do whatever. Okay? It's your show. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to state what obligation you have and what you don't have. You understand? This is alternate media. Nobody is beholden to anyone. It's the good and the bad. It comes with advantages and disadvantages. Okay? It's alternate media. Anybody can say whatever. No journalistic integrity whatsoever. Do whatever you like. Have no integrity. It's up to you. You have no obligation to be a person of integrity, to call out evil when you see it. It's obviously not an obligation of yours. Good and fine. Okay? And it is your media company and it is your show. Okay? It is your media company, it is your show, and you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can continue to roll with Candace Owens and be a staunch defender of both of them and act like those people are just saying normal critique, offering common sense criticism of Israel that is very moderate. Do all of that on your show. It is up to you. It is 100% up to you. You understand? Have MTG on your show to tell us more lies about what is happening in Israel and how Israelis are doing bad things. Go ahead and do all of that. It is up to you. It is up to you 100%. You understand? And it is also up to the rest of us to call you out. I don't understand how people like Megyn Kelly cannot appreciate being called out for aligning yourself with people who are nefarious. For somebody who is part of alternate media, where calling people out is kind of part of the game, is what happens. It happens all the time. People are going to call you out all the time. And then you are going to complain because people are calling you out. Rightly calling you out, by the way. And then Konstantin Kisin rightly pointed out that the problem with this approach, this is what he said in his tweet. He said, that's in response to what Megan said. He said the problem with this approach which many on the right are taking, is that this is exactly how the left allowed its own extremists to first flourish and then become the face of the entire movement. And he's 100% right. The left was busy attacking the right, calling out the fascists, calling out the racists that do not exist, calling out the right, that they ignore the fact that they now have racists and the communists amongst them. They now have radicals amongst them. They refuse to address the radicals. They refuse to call them out. They refuse nothing. And they allowed the radicals to take over their party. And then now the left has become a party of radicals. Or people who have no problem with violence. Or people who are staunch supporters of terrorists. And not just any kind of terrorist, Islamic terrorists. That is how that became that's how these people became forerunners of the left. Why won't you criticize extremists? Because they are on the right. That is the approach for Megyn Kelly. This person, she said it here. She said it here clearly. My fight is with the left. So as long as someone is not on the left, they can do no wrong. Or any wrong worth calling out. And Konstantin Kisin is pointing it out clearly. This is not a good approach. This is not a good approach. Then he said, if you agree with Candace and Tucker, people will respect that. But to many of us, their behavior is so extreme and so deranged that the idea that it can be simply ignored because your fight is with the left doesn't wash. You have always been a great principled, truth-seeking journalist. So to many of your admirers like me, the question might be, if you agree with them, fine. But if you don't, why isn't your fight with them? Which is a great question. Great response. But look at Meghan's response. The more one insists that I say what one demands me to say, the more I... What kind of stupid response is this? What kind of stupid response is this? What kind of stupid response is this? The more one insists that I say what one demands me to say, the more committed I get in my refusal. Okay? What does that have to do with anything? You don't have to. What do you mean by they are demanding? Nobody is demanding anything from you. You are the one who is feeling like that. Nobody is demanding anything from you. People are just, if you don't want to answer, Megyn, if you don't want to answer, you keep quiet. All this, the more people demand from nobody's demanding that. You can do whatever you want to do. If you choose not to answer the question, don't. If you choose not to lend your voice to condemn people you know are very nefarious, fine. If you choose to be their staunch defender, good. Nobody is forcing you to do anything. And that is what Konstantin Kisin just pointed out. I demand nothing of you, and I'm not coming from a position of great, and I'm coming from a position of great respect. I am simply asking, why is it that you don't believe that lies told by prominent people on the right should be challenged in the way we all challenge lies told by people on the left? Simple question, and you don't have to answer it. And this is her response. Your response proved the opposite of what is proposed to. What? Oh, and then continue. Asking you why you think something proves that I am demanding something from you? That doesn't make any sense. Don't you ask people why they think what they think all the time? I think you probably have received a lot of negativity on this, and you might be assuming that is my angle of approach. It is not. I am genuinely curious why you think the way you think about this issue. Of course, if you don't want to answer, that's fine. I am not demanding anything. And then she doesn't say anything anymore. This is the current state of Megyn Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. I don't understand. Like, this is something I don't understand. Something that you will not expect. But this is the current state of Megyn Kelly. And if she's called out, of course, they're going to be like, oh, they're attacking us because we are just giving moderate criticisms. There's one thing we say in Nigeria, I don't know if it is common everywhere in the world. we say if you are the one who is marking your script, you're always going to get 100. And I think that's the problem with so many people, especially in this alternate media landscape. You are the one marking your script. You are beholden to no one. In fact, your entire media company can fail. And the only person who is going to bear the brunt of it is you and probably your employees. So you're as that beholden to no one gives you the freedom to be a moron, essentially. A moron that becomes a moron, and that moronic behavior goes unchecked because it is up to you. You know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate every one of us. I have one more thing on the agenda, but I think I have reached my battery is my battery is low, my self battery. So I just want to use this opportunity to appreciate Anya Umesi. Thank you for the 11-pound super chat. Yes, you said good job, Frank. Work tomorrow. Yeah, I understand, especially for those in the UK. You have work to do tomorrow. You cannot be staying up late. Maybe I'll try to do this much early during the day. We'll see how that will work. But thank you. I appreciate everyone who has been with me live. And that's all I have for you guys. Remember to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Smash that like button. Remember to support by going over to buymeacoffee.com/NIG perspective. And yeah, I really appreciate every one of you. And what else? Hopefully we'll do a live stream tomorrow. I'm not sure. But right now I'm very tired. Very, very tired. And we are going to end this live stream the same way we end every other live stream, by hearing from the great Candace Owens. And I know I'm too tired to speak, but departing words. I know we've listened to so many. Let me start with this. I think this is the best way to close. I think this is the best way to close. I'm going to close with this. Where is that stuff I want to close with? Okay, it is here. All right, let me share my screen so you can see it. I want to close with this verse. John 16, verse 33, New King James Version. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. I'll read it again. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. I know we've spoken about so many tragic stories and some less tragic stories. We've spoken about the attack in Kwara State. Yesterday we spoke about the genocide of Christians in northern Nigeria. Today we are speaking about how the Jewish nation, people who are fighting anti-Semitism, who are fighting radical Islam, are being attacked by anti-Semites and conspiracy theorists and wokeists, and from all angles they're being attacked. And sometimes when you look at what is happening in the news, and when you look at how Israel is losing the information war, and you look at how Christians are being persecuted around the world, and you look at all this news story, you can get overwhelmed, and you might feel the sting of hopelessness piercing through your skin, and trying to infuse your heart and mind with despair. But for me, whenever this kind of thing happens, I am reminded of John 16:33. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. And that is just what Jesus is saying to every one of us now. In a moment of despair, in a moment of worry, in a moment of trials, as we look around the world and see hopelessness, we should be reminded that our hope is not external. Our hope is eternal and eternal. It is not from below. It is not from around. It is from above. It is not on things that can be seen. It is on things that cannot be seen. It is on Christ. It is on him who is the hope of our salvation. the hope of our glory. And just like he rose from the dead, we too will rise. We'll rise from whatever challenge it is, either in this life or in the life to come. And this is the hope that I give to you. This is the hope that I offer to you today. In this world, you have tribulation. In this world, you have trials. In this world, you have troubles. You have so many things that will worry you. But do you have someone who have overcome the world? Because trust me, you can't. You can't overcome the world. You can't do it on your own. Do you have someone who has overcome the world for you? There is someone who has done that. His name is Jesus. And he has overcome the world. And he's saying, I offer you peace. I offer you consolation. I offer you hope. True hope. Hope that cannot fail. Hope that does not rely on what is happening around. Hope that is transcending this realm. Hope that is eternal. Hope that is from God. Hope that cannot be quenched. That is the hope that overcomes the world. That is Jesus. And I offer you Jesus today. If you accept him into your life, he will come and give you peace and give you joy and help you overcome this world. And with that, I want to thank everyone for being with me on this live stream, listening to me ramble with my Nigerian accent. My discussion about Nigerian politics. And I'm really grateful. I've really enjoyed myself, and I hope you have too. I hope this is not just me entertaining myself. I hope in one way or the other you have been entertained, informed, and encouraged. And hopefully I do more of encouragement in my live stream than anything else. Hopefully. But thank you all. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for giving me your time. It's not easy. You know, beyond the money, time is something you can never get back, and you have given that to me. I really appreciate it. And with that said, I will leave you with this wonderful clip. And until we meet again, peace.
It's a gut thing, okay? I don't know, but I know. Okay? I don't know, but I know. What are we to discern from all of this? I'll tell you my take on this. It's a gut thing, okay? I don't know, but I know. Okay? I don't know, but I know. It's a gut thing. I don't know, but I know. It's a gut thing. I don't know, but I know. It's a gut thing, okay? Make it make sense. It's very easy to debunk me, okay? Easy. Super internet, debunk me, okay? Easy. Super internet, debunk me, okay? Very easy. We've got other people that are doing different things, and they do not want us to prod the narrative. So I'm going to assume doesn't make sense to prod the narrative. We've got other people. Doesn't make sense to prod the narrative. We've got other people. Doesn't make sense to prod the narrative. We've got other people that are doing different things. I don't know, but I know. Prod the narrative. I don't know, but I know. It's a gut thing. It's over. It's done. Wrap it up.